The Bend Police and Fire Departments teamed up with the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office and other Central Oregon agencies to conduct an active shooter drill at Central Oregon Community College. Take a look at what they learned.
The active shooter exercise took place at the Central Oregon Community College, and it was a combination of police department, fire department, all the Central Oregon public safety agencies, and we came together essentially working on what our response would be to an active shooter on a college campus.
A lot of people associate an active shooter with a school, and sometimes that's not always the case. We need to plan and protect the community, and we worked on a specific protocol that we worked and tried out at this exercise.
L65, we haven't heard anything inside the building. We're clearing both top and bottom.
The goal was to see what we would do well in an active shooter incident and what we need to improve on in an active shooter incident.
Copy. Confirming that you understand second shooter, gray hat.
And a 3PC.
But in reality, active shooter incidents can happen anywhere. It can happen at a post office, it can happen in a mall, it can happen at a store.
Yeah, so within an active shooter, it's going to involve many different organizations. It's going to obviously involve the dispatch center. They're going to be receiving several phone calls, probably hundreds of phone calls. It's going to involve all the law enforcement agencies in Central Oregon, the fire department, the hospital, air life, things of that nature.
We learned a lot of information. We learned a lot of how to work together to improve our cooperation with neighboring agencies. We also learned a better way to communicate with each other and that we need to improve our communication systems. We also learned to work with our unified command. And probably the biggest piece when you work at these large incidents is familiarity with the fellow responders. And that's a huge piece to getting through these incidents and making them have a successful outcome.
The first challenge was just trying to plan this event. This event was very enormous. It was the largest event planned in Central Oregon. Involved over 300 people, and like I said, various agencies from the Central Oregon area. But then once we got into it and we're looking back at the exercise, I'd say the biggest challenge that came out of it was indeed that communications and the interoperability. Making sure that all the agencies involved can communicate effectively together and work well together.
Any one of these exercises we can't handle with just our fire department. So we looked to other departments. So we had all of the law enforcement agencies, including the FBI. We had all of the fire department resources that are in Central Oregon, especially Deschutes County. And then in addition, we also have the mental health capabilities that we had to include Deschutes County Victims Assistance, St. Charles Mental Health, School Mental Health. We did not give these first responders a tremendous amount of information. We told them when the drill was going to happen, we told them where it was going to happen, and we gave them a command post location. After that, everybody needed to figure out what to do next. That caused a challenge for everybody because it forced them to communicate, it forced them to develop an emergency operations plan, and I think ultimately we were able to make this as real life as we possibly could. This incident is actually a law enforcement incident. We are simply there to provide a service for that aspect of this law enforcement incident. So by us working together and training together, again, we increase that familiarity with each other, we know each other, and it helps get a successful outcome at the end.
One of the biggest things that came out of this exercise was what a great level of cooperation this event in real life we would need to have to effectively respond to it. Cooperation amongst ourselves, other law enforcement agencies, the fire department, the sheriff's office, federal agencies like the FBI. The cooperation amongst all agencies working together is what's going to help us, effectively resolve one of these situations.
We have to have these types of trainings. We have to have these events. It allows us to have a familiarity with each other, and it allows us to have an easier way to mitigate these large-scale incidents.